It's a numbers game, so just keep going. It's always been a numbers game. The fact that you'd had to do 50 impressions to get 2 clicks, you got to figure out your click through ratio, your CTR there. So it's just keep doing what you're doing, and you'll get there.
In this episode of the Creators Pod, we talk about how we're all using the various different social platforms to connect with our communities and to drive them to the places where we most want to connect with them. And I know my sort of view of this has changed over the months that I've been doing YouTube, but what's all of your strategies? Where do you sort of see all the different platforms fitting into your overall sort of direction and thing that you're focused on?
At first, when I first started, I thought I had to be everywhere, right? And, they're like, oh, go on Facebook and Instagram and, and LinkedIn and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, I don't know if that's a really good strategy for me. At this point right now, I just want brand awareness, and, I'm just going to focus on one thing. I've known Facebook forever because that's kind of where I did most of my business before. And, the only thing is I don't really like Facebook. So now I'm like, oh, well, now what do I do? So I'm learning Instagram. And so I'm having to, figure out that whole hamster thing. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I'm like, this too much. This too much.
Michelle, for the listeners at home, maybe you can expand on what you mean by the hamster thing, because we know what you mean, but maybe other people don't.
So each one of the outlets, let's say Facebook or whatever. So I had one mentor who said, okay, if you're going to do stuff on Facebook, you have to be posting like 3 or 4 times a day, and there's like best time of day. You go into your analytics and figure out when your peeps are on the platform. And then that's when you post.
Hang on, Michelle. Michelle, you're talking about business pages, right?
Yes.
Not groups. Okay, go ahead.
Right. And yes, definitely on business pages, because then you can see your analytics, you can see all those things. And, so I went into there and I was like, oh, okay, this is working, until they changed the algorithm, and then it's not. And then it's like, okay, now we have to try to figure it out again. And then once you figure it out again, it's like, all right, you're constantly having to change. I never really got into Instagram. I only had like a personal account, but then I created one for my business, and it's the same thing with Instagram. Well, they're owned by Facebook, so go figure. But it's the same thing with them. You got to post multiple times a day, and just to kind of keep up. And it's like, I got a full-time job. I know this business that I'm running is going to be my full-time job one day, but it's a full-time job just doing social media. And I don't know about you guys, but like I said, there's too much.
How about you, Rich? I know that you've got someone who posts stuff for you for your business side of stuff. How would you find that working? And like you do that on different platforms as well?
I do. I have a service that's specific to my industry that posts on 4 platforms. Well, he posts on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, I guess, and Twitter 4 or 5 times a week, every day. Just so, and it's really just for the sake of having something up. He only posts once. He doesn't post 4 or 5 times a day, which he probably should. But it's really product shots, and I don't really want to be that guy that hustles product. I like to be more. But it does keep, if people do see it, then they're top of mind. I don't know that I get anything out of it at all. Except, I think I've told you guys before, if a company finds me and they want to buy something from me, and they check me out, they see that I was active today or yesterday. They know that I haven't let the thing go dormant for 3 years, like a lot of people in my industry. So, because there's an awful lot of part-timers in my industry that do it on the side, or they do it just to sell to their wife's bridge club or whatever. So that service is, I do that. And then I do my own other stuff. I post randomly on LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook whenever I get something to say, whenever I have something. I started doing reels and shorts this week again, because I found a VA that could crank them out, and for pretty reasonable cost. So, and it's a slow go, but it'll get better. So we'll see how that goes. But I don't know that
think
one's
it's good.
driving traffic to the other. I don't know that anything is driving traffic to me other than just reinforcing my brand, reinforcing the fact that I'm here and that I'm current and I'm active.
I think that's a really good point, because you do, like, from a business point of view, when you go and check up a company and then you don't see anything from them on socials and stuff like that, you just do think, like, are they still around even? So
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point. And like Michelle was saying about it being that whole thing of just having more of a presence. I always used to see people that were posting, similar things on multiple platforms. And because I just happened to be on all of those platforms, I always used to think, well, I've kind of seen this. But actually, what I've now realized is it was having an effect on me, because it was keeping them sort of top of mind, and it wasn't like it was that annoying or anything. So it does work really to be posting.
And
to multiple platforms.
I don't think the general public, the world, is on every platform like we are, like we pay attention.
Exactly.
To it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they are. For example, I hate the heck out of LinkedIn. I do not like it. I do not like it. And I go on there just to go, and it's fine. But there's so much. Oh, my notifications are full of, I agree, and oh, that was great, and congratulations. And there's no content there other than look at me and look what I did, and 10 people saying congratulations for it. There's very little value in LinkedIn to me, but I'm not looking for a job, so maybe that's a different thing.
I suppose that's a bit like to Keely's point from last week where we were talking about Twitter. It's all about curating it, and I know I've tried to do a better job of curating my Twitter presence since then. Perhaps we need to do the same with our LinkedIn ones.
I have too, and we got scolded for talking about it in the wrong place.
How about you, Keely and Dina? How are you looking at the other platforms, and what's your sort of approach to it all?
I am using Instagram Reels, and I'm trying to work up to a real strategy of using it to attract and then nurture, and try to figure out what that blend is of how many posts should be to attract new people and then how many should be for nurturing my existing people. The gap that I'm not spinning my wheels on, I'm just going to keep on creating reels until I figure this out. But how do I know that it is moving the needle over on YouTube? That's the part that I'm unsure of. I was looking at my data, the analytics yesterday, and I saw that I think it was like 50 people clicked on my bio in Instagram, and 2 people of those 50 clicked on the YouTube link. That does not mean that they turned into YouTube subscribers. So I still haven't been able to bridge that gap, and we may not be able to definitively, but that's kind of where I am right now.
At least it shows
the good news
people are
is
taking.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yes. Yeah.
I didn't know you could see
So
people
it's
clicking
in
on
the-
your bio and they would tell you a number. I didn't know you could do that.
Right. If you've got a creator account, you get those creator insights, and I think it's.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's probably a scroll and a half down, page and a half down,
Cool.
and you can see that kind of activity. You may have to do one click further in, but
It's on the phone too, right? It's not on the desktop. On the phone is.
I have not tried it on the desktop. I'm
Okay.
definitely
Yeah,
on the phone.
I don't think you see that kind of stuff on the desktop. Anyway, that's fine.
Yeah.
With
always
you
been-
driving
so-
stuff to YouTube, is I mean, what I'm thinking about you is I always see my reels and vertical stuff as sort of secondary to everything I'm doing. But your reels are always really great as standalone things. I mean, would there be a point of, growing that as its own thing, sort of, that could in theory, grow to be a much, similarly sized sort of platform as YouTube?
Yes. That I have not put aside at all. Excuse me. I have not ruled that out. Let's put it that way. I see a possibility of it growing. And as we've talked about recently in our offline conversations, I'm still figuring out what I'm going to be when I grow up. And I think I am very fortunate right now, since it's so small, that I can try these different things and see what's growing faster. Right now, to be honest, Reels, Instagram's growing faster than YouTube. But I think I'm starting to find what's hitting in both places. And I haven't been doing a lot of static images on Instagram. I think that's kind of the next step for me is, I can do Reels. I get that now. I'm starting to understand what works for my types. So the next part is what are the static images that are going to start to help tell my story?
Speaking of static images, well, it's a numbers game, so just keep going. It's always been a numbers game. The fact that you'd had to do 50 impressions to get 2 clicks, you got to figure out your click-through ratio, your CTR there. So it's, just keep doing what you're doing, and you'll get there. But fun fact, this week, my son also is, a content creator as well, and he's been doing his thing on TikTok. He has been doing his his little videos, and right now he's almost at 2 videos are almost at 1 million views.
Awesome.
Like, wow. I'm like, what? I'm trying to figure this thing out, and so I'm like, okay, maybe I might do some stuff on TikTok because it's a shorter, it's a shorter bite-size chunk. I know I could do the same thing on Instagram, but I don't know. I'm just playing around, and I, just want to just have brand awareness at this point. I don't really have a strategy just yet. But I know that's coming. It'll come eventually. I just want to kind of get my bearings under, beneath me so I can kind of start getting to where I can do things consistently. Speaking of static images, my community tab showed up today on my channel. So I'm like, woo! Nice. I'm so excited. So yeah, I got to think about what I want to post there. So I'm like, oh, great. More stuff to post. Yay.
How about you, Keely?
Yeah, I'm pulling together a few things that everybody has said. And I think what's interesting is that we all have, because we're all in different business niches, we all have different needs that we're trying to hit. And getting back to Rich's point about LinkedIn and how much he dislikes it, I'm definitely in that LinkedIn dislike camp. Except this morning, I was on the Jim and Tim show and talking about Discord for creators. And they were streaming into LinkedIn. They were, multi-streaming probably to a dozen places, but they were streaming on their personal pages. They were streaming on the Jim and Tim business page on LinkedIn because they opened up that capability. If you have 150 followers of your page, you open that up. And who knows how many people were watching, because I wasn't watching at the time. I was, really trying to be engaged with the fact I was talking. But let's say there were 10 people who were watching that live on LinkedIn. 3 of them reached out to me when the stream was over to connect and sent me messages about what I was talking about. That is probably the same amount of people who have reached out to me after a few YouTube live streams. There is something very specific about the LinkedIn environment that is very business to business. If you're looking to do business with other business people, I think that might be the way to go. And that's one of the things that I had an inkling about and why I joined the Ship 30 for 30 program and why I'm now posting concurrently. So the same content, just a little reconfigured to LinkedIn, Twitter, and Medium, because I'm trying to reach those business people who want to use Discord in their businesses. That's a very specific target, and particularly content creators are the people that I'm trying to reach. And it worked. It worked with a very small sample size. So there's something to be said for 1 million views on TikTok, but how many customers does it turn into for you? How many clients, how many people, like Dina was saying, turn into YouTube subscribers? And probably, I think Dina's strategy of using Instagram Reels for her niche is absolutely spot on. Reels and TikTok should be, she should be mastering those domains. And for me, with specifically just Discord for creators, not for FH umpires, I think Twitter and LinkedIn is going to be the way to go for me for sure. So we all get caught up in the whole, we have to be everywhere, as noted before, but maybe we don't, and maybe we can focus on the things that we're exactly trying to get to.
Mm-hmm. That's been my experience with LinkedIn as well. I've made some really good connections since I started, rekindled my my LinkedIn account that had been dormant for years. and started doing stuff there, because the people I'm trying to reach there are, first of all, brand representatives, because I'm looking to build up a following so that I can get brand deals for my channel and my brand, but then also for clients as well, because I mentioned at the beginning how my sort of attitude to this has changed, or my view of it has changed, because in the beginning I was thinking that I was trying to drive people to my YouTube channel, whereas now I'm trying to drive people either to my Discord community or to be my sort of consultation services. And those are people that I am reaching through LinkedIn. And just as you said, people are there with a business focus. That's the place that I'm more likely to find those. And that's why I'm streaming the Live Streamer Backstage podcast. That goes out to LinkedIn precisely because of that. I want to reach people who are maybe unaware of live streaming as much as the people who follow us on YouTube and watch in our sort of wider community on YouTube. Everyone knows about live streaming and how they can, look good on Zoom and all that kind of stuff with live streaming equipment, but not so many people in LinkedIn are like that. So yeah, that's how my sort of focus has shifted a little bit.
Yeah, and that's sort of the interesting jump there, is that when live streamers stream to YouTube, they're often reaching people who are also live streamers on YouTube. So you're talking to the same audience, the same people. And we kind of get into this whole trap where we think, well, everybody's live streaming, aren't they? Everybody's got a ZV-10. And it just turns into this whole, it's nice to be in a tight-knit community, but are we getting clients out of that? Are we growing our businesses out of that? Whereas, Alec, you're reaching people that aren't out there, and there are hundreds of thousands and millions of people like that who haven't progressed to that level, and we're starting to see them. And I'm seeing, holy smokes, there's a lot of people on LinkedIn who have no idea about Discord, who want to build communities and are looking for something other than the gray boxes of Zoom and the structures of a Mighty Networks or a Circle and things like that. So it's really, really cool in a weird way. It's kind of like hanging out with your cousin and enjoying it.
What I was saying about LinkedIn is, as a user, as a browser, I don't like LinkedIn. Broadcasting to it, I'm all for it. If they would work out their 1080 versus 4K thing, I would go there myself. I haven't figured out the way to finagle it like Alec has. So, but I'm all about it. As a viewer, I hate it, and you can't put it in the background. You can't do anything else while you're watching something on LinkedIn on your phone. You're kind of stuck. So, and they ought to fix that. But whatever. But they can do what they want. It's their company. So,
and how about the sort of in general? I mentioned about like it's sort of me shifting my opinion of where all this is feeding. Where do you all see the main location that you're trying to send people to? So for me, it is just either consultation and coaching clients, or it is trying to get people into the community and build that side of stuff, and that becomes then the hub for all of the other stuff. But where are you sort of trying to aim people to predominantly?
Yeah, for me, FH Empire's pyramid is I use the socials to advertise my live streams. For my live streams, I advertise the Discord server for the entire community. And in there, I develop the relationships so that they want to be members in my program, and they want to sign up for my workshops, and they want to build their umpiring skills. That's been very clear to me. Now I've realized with Discord for Creators, what I want to do is use Twitter and LinkedIn to bring people into my Discord, but to also just go straight for those consultation activities, because it's not as important. I don't think I need as many. I think I need touch points, but I don't think I need to have out there touch points. I don't think I need to be showing them with 13 pieces of content on Facebook that they can trust me about Discord. I think I need 13 DMs or 13 exchanges in my Discord server to create that relationship where they say, you know what, I'm ready for a Discord server. So very different tactics for very different sort of markets.
Right now, my main focus is YouTube. My consistency, making, cranking out my videos, and then also awareness of the other things that I do. So like courses and social learning basically is what I do. So social learning, I post on I'll post on YouTube, and then also to Instagram will be the other thing that I'm curating right now. Eventually get into LinkedIn, but I don't think I'm quite ready yet for that. I want to have developed the consistency, just like I have on YouTube and Instagram, so that I could kind of like get folks to see the different things that I offer, and so that they can get into the courses and things that I do. But for the most part, those are the two things that I kind of want to stick to at this point. I know that LinkedIn will be something that I would really need to do, because the corporate people that I want to attract are there. Mainly people in corporate medicine, because they're like, oh wow, they're used to doing stuff or having stuff done for them, and then not having to actually try to figure out the things that we do that we've been doing naturally for the last 2 years, because we're in this tight community. But my whole thing is social proof. And that's kind of where I am in my journey. I need to be able to show that social proof. And so, I need to get that outdone. So, so I'm like, all right, that's what I'm going to be, doing.
I want to jump in because I want to ask Michelle about that language that you're using there, about how I'm not ready yet, or I need to build my social proof and things like that. I'm just going to call bullshit on it right now.
I know.
Because you know where your people are. You know your clients are corporate medical professionals, and they're on LinkedIn. Why are you wasting time anywhere else?
Okay.
Go to where the people are good. And you are at least 10% better than all of them. You are miles better than all of them about the branding and putting that together and the packaging. This is all stuff that they need from you, because you're one of them. You're one of their people. And that's where they are. They're not on YouTube. They're not watching you on YouTube. You're going to find them on LinkedIn. They're going to find you on LinkedIn. And that's when the connections are going to start getting made. That's what I heard with what you were saying.
Okay, all right.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm encouraging you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I have
Hashtag
another?
Keely was
Can I
right.
have another?
You can have another. My invoice is already in your inbox, girl.
Oh my God. Yes.
Gauntlet dropped.
And this is what we do for each other, right? This is the thing that we give each other the space to verbalize what we're thinking, and we start giving each other cues as to where maybe our little blocks are and our little obstacles. And then because we trust each other, we can call each other on our bullshit and say, wait a minute, there was something in there. Let's go back to that part you said. And I think we can push each other to skip past the thing. We want to skip past the mistakes. So don't make the mistake that I was making with Discord for Creators, which was going on YouTube and streaming to other streamers. No, I have to go to where my clients are going to be, and that's where LinkedIn comes in for me. So
All right.
bang. I was talking to myself really through that whole thing when I was getting on you.
All right. I'll just switch it.
So my approach is unclear yet. I do know, after looking at, again, it was a data weekend for me. After looking at the data, it's starting to become clear, what are we, nearly a year in, that my live stream numbers are just pretty low. And I'm okay with that because I'm building those relationships for a community. My recorded content, though, non-shorts, because the shorts do well, we just have numbers there. But non-shorts seem to outperform my live streams 4x. And while I love my live stream, I really, really love doing the recorded stuff. So I think that starts to come through on some of those videos. And I'm beginning to wonder if my reels will bring people into the channel or to the blog, once I step up that game. And if anybody has a boot that they want to use, I'm open to it.
I usually have a few sitting around.
Yeah, so I think what I'm doing is I'm bringing people in through the reels to the channel, and what may end up shaking out is I build that relationship. Somehow they're getting them into Discord, and that might be where I put up the member, wall, and that's how you get the live streams, because the live streams aren't. I don't know. There's that entertainment value, but I'm starting to see where my funnel pyramid, whatever you want to call it, the fun ride into the pool, is happening. It's going to come take a big splash with us.
Fun ride into the pool.
The thing you mentioned about the replay, the number of replays you get on live streams versus or views on those versus the recorded. I find that as well, that my live streams will have, whatever numbers they have, but then it just sort of drops off. You don't get suddenly a live stream from a year ago is starting to pick up, whereas I do find that with videos. They might have been almost flatlining for a while, and then suddenly they'll just start going up for some reason. So I also know that from myself, if I see something that says it's a video versus something that says streamed 8 months ago, there's a little thing in my brain that tells me, it's old. It was streamed 8 months ago. It's like, there is something that happens in my own brain. I notice that this is happening. So for sure that happens with other people as well. So I find, just concurring with you, that I find the same for my recorded videos versus streamed. I like the idea of the streams being a more exclusive thing.
I think people who are not live streamers or don't know a live streamer are, I don't want to say afraid, but they just think immediately, not my thing. I mean, how many people have we had to convince that, okay, yeah, you do like this type of content, but guess what? You're going to really love this live stream. Because most people are like, no, I don't want to watch it live.
Mm-hmm. There's another thing, which is there's a lot of terrible live streams where people aren't actually giving great content. So I think people have this view that if they're going to watch a video, there's an expectation that it's going to be a concise video on a particular topic, whereas a live stream might be a load of rambling and chatting with people in the comments, which, is true in my case. But I think there's that expectation is slightly different, to a live stream versus a video if they're just there looking for information.
I started to do something like, I took a page from your book, Alec. Yesterday I recorded a couple of videos and I did it in one take, and I uploaded them unlisted while I do my SEO and, work out all the things. And, I pretty much already had an idea for the thumbnail and all that, because that was what I was teaching. And it was really cathartic in that I'm like, oh my goodness, I put so much pressure on myself. Like, oh my God, I have to do all these things. But it was so easy to just sit there, do the video, because it's a live stream. Okay. I'm using air quotes now, but really it's not. It's exactly what I do when I do a live stream, only it's very, very succinct, and I get the information out. One video was like 12 minutes. The other video was like 8 minutes. I'm like, all right, perfect. Right. Got all the information that I needed out. And I just did the run of show exactly like I do in my live stream, only there's not a whole lot of talking. You're talking to the camera, you're doing all the things. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. Kicked myself in the pants a couple times. I'm like, all right, you could do this. You could do this. And then you could use the unlisted video, put that link in the Discord. It's like, hey, you've got access to the video. It's not out yet. You got access to it because I'm giving you access to it because you're in my Discord server. Tell me what you think. What are some of your questions? Those kinds of stuff, so that you can kind of like, get the things that you need. So you're like, all right, now I have more information for the next video that I'm going to do because I got a question from somebody in my Discord server or something like that. So, so I was like, I had to tell you that to your face because thank you, Alec, for your example.
It's very liberating, though.
I know, right? And I'm sitting here going, what the heck took me so long to do this? Because before I would make a whole meal out of it and I'm like, oh my God, I got to do all of this stuff in Final Cut. I'm like, no, it's just a really short live stream, like without being live, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I could do this. I could do this all day, every day, and twice on Sundays. Yeah, I could do it.
I love that because I think we've come through sort of that school of content creation, of live streaming. Live is everything. And it's a great thing, but it's not everything. And just because we build some of our skills, so we build our ability to execute a video in one take by doing live streams, because we learn how to speak better, we learn how to get to the point better, whatever it is, it doesn't mean that we have to stick with it when we find, like Dina has, that her produced content, her recorded content is hitting better because just the nature of it is she's able to show off all these beautiful things in her home place. She's letting her stuff do all of the marketing for her. And like what you're describing. And I think that's really powerful, that there's a whole range of tools out there and we don't just have to do the one thing in order to reach the people we're looking for. I'm going back to writing, which I haven't been, writing tweets or anything regular for a long time, but they do very well for a lot of really, really excelling professionals. They're fully written tweets, no images, no vertical videos, no nothing, are making money for them and drawing in the clientele that they want. And I'm like, that's good, because I'm really good at writing. That's where my skill set is. So I feel it's really liberating to know that we can all use these tools and try them out and see how they resonate with our business models. And then say, you know what? Maybe live streaming isn't the end all be all for me. And I can do that occasionally, or I can guest on other people's live streams on a regular basis. But that doesn't have to be my core offering. I can do really dope TikToks like Dina.
It's going to be really cool to have a check-in in a few months' time when we've all actually been doing the things that we've been putting in place. And we've got some data as well, because I know that's how I feel. I'm trying all these different things, but it's kind of, just waiting to see what happens from it. And so there's definitely going to be another good conversation, I think, to come later from this.
Speaking of blogs, writing, right? I published a blog last night too, as part of my one take stuff. And it's funny because, it's all part of the way I prepare for my live streams. And it was kind of nice in that I used to do it all the time. And I kind of got away from it because I was all focused on the live stream part. But I already have this blueprint that, that I set in place a long time ago. And I just kind of, for whatever reason, I don't know, it's kind of gone by the wayside. But I realized how easy it was just to kind of get right back in the groove again. And so, I did the live stream. I published a blog right after that because all the information was created for the live stream, had the blog in it. Now, in that stream, now I have 7 pieces of 7 tips that I can chop up and now make, vertical videos with, or things that I could post on LinkedIn.
Twitter thread.
There you go. And yes, I could definitely do that. And then also too, the podcast, my podcast, so easy. So, it was really nice to be able to do that. And, I've done more work this week than I have in weeks past. So let's see, now what I want to be is consistent. And as long as I'm consistently producing and putting the information in the places where, my audience can see it, the people that really matter, the people I'm really trying to reach, so that they could connect with me, and then we can go to the next step.
That's awesome, Michelle. I love hearing that for you.
Thank
I
you.
love this journey for you.
Thank you
so
very
good.
much.
I love this journey for all of us.
All right. I love this journey. And it's funny because we're learning from each other, right? So I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, well, in my head, depending on what I'm looking at, I'm like, what would Dina do? And I reached out to her today. I'm like, hey, yo, what you doing, mama? And so we had a little conversation today, and then other times I'd be like, what would Alec do? Oh, he would do that in one take. All right, let's do it. And then I did it, so it's like, so I have these conversations in my head all the time about every single one of you. And so, I'm like, okay. Yeah, we are learning from each other. This is something that, this right here, this synergy that we have right here, man, awesome.
And that leads us to the group appreciation portion of this podcast where we say really nice things to each other. I love it.
Before we cut each other out.
The end of it, like the end of an improv class where you go around in a circle and you say what you appreciated about the last whatever. It's kind of fun.
Is that something you do? That's cute.
No.
I like that.
In an improv class, yeah. You say,
thank
I like
you.
the way you acted like a mailman, or I like the way you acted like this. It's kind of weird.
That's awesome.
No feel good, lovey-dovey stuff.
And then we cuss each other out.
Yeah.
That's right. Screw you guys.
Oh, that's strong language, Alec. Tone it
goodness,
down.
Alec.
You think that's
Whoa.
strong? Wait till we stop the recording.
Love it.
Thanks for hopping into our Creators Pod. If you enjoyed it, we'd love if you'd tell a friend about it and leave a review wherever you get your podcasts. The Creators Pod is produced by C22 Media. Dina Taylor, Keely Dunn, Michelle Lawrence, Rich Graham, and me, Alec Johnson.